So I'm being divinely guided to share my story. I've never really done that. I've been through a lot of fucked up shit. So I'm just gonna start from my childhood, like when I was a baby. My dad has been in and out of prison my whole life. Since I was an infant, he was like a heroin addict and he did every drug under the roof. He'd bring it into the home, he'd bring all of his friends into the home and they'd do it together and they'd get fucked up all the time. There were cops at my house every day. My mom and him would fight every day. They would get cops called for that reason too. And then my dad got locked up for a while and I didn't see him maybe for 6 years. And in that point, my mom had to take care of me and my sister completely on her own. She worked third shift. She was a nurse, so she worked all night. So she worked her ass off trying to support me and my sister, and we never had enough money. We were always living in poverty. A lot of times I wasn't even able to go to like school field trips because my mom didn't even have the money to do so. I'd always feel upset because I watched all my other friends get to go out and do things and I was never able to do that. So my mom was also an alcoholic. She smoked a lot. We moved probably every year. We never stayed put. And I remember at one point my grandma had to rent out a house to my mom because she didn't have money. And she said the only condition is that my dad cannot come over because every time he would steal and he would go pawn it off to the shop to get drugs. He was just like a nuisance. He'd just fuck everything up. So my grandma did not want him in our lives. So under that one condition, she let us live in a place that she owned. And then my dad showed up on New Year's, just popped up out of nowhere. And my grandma found out, kicked us out, and we were homeless for a little bit. I remember at one point we actually had to go break back into that house and sleep on the floor with nothing. And then at 14, my mom died from an asthma attack. My mom's boyfriend at the time was too fucked up to get help for her. So she just basically died in the house. I wasn't there. Me and my sister were both gone, luckily, but we never got to say our goodbyes to her. And my dad has still been in and out of prison my whole life. Very unreliable. He's not really my dad. I don't have any parents. I'm completely supporting myself. At 18, I lived with my grandma. I got kicked out as soon as I graduated high school, as soon as I turned 18, and I actually graduated half a year early. And that was when I started dancing.